We're rolling.
It's happening, boys.
It's the Boys Podcast.
Love it. No
Just gonna
title,
roll
but
this thing. No title. No titles. We need a title.
we don't need a title when you have these guys in the room.
Although we potentially may need to do one of these for every, big kind of life event that happens. So, D, obviously you're getting married.
Get married.
We're in the bachelor party for you.
Yes, sir.
And so this is going to be yours.
It's got to be mine.
I'll be up in a few. Rob will be 15, 20 years later.
Yep. But let's not try to make it in every 5 to 10 years. You got to do it every year.
Yeah, just a life catch up.
It was pretty easy to organize it, though, honestly. I was kind of bugging out about it, but I felt like it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
No, I like it. We hop right off a plane. We don't even say hi, and then we all just jump on the podcast.
It's 2023.
That's it.
I like it.
Coffees.
All right, D. So we're here for your bachelor party. Dude, this is a big deal. This is a very big deal because we've all known each other for, I don't know, at this point, I can't even calculate the amount of years, but it's been a long time. It's been over 15 years for sure. Mm-hmm. We've all been friends since early high school. Mm-hmm. That's when Rob and I actually became friends. Like, before that, we kind of lived in the same house together, and it wasn't until high school that we really started chilling.
I don't really like you that much.
Tough love.
We started hanging out in high school. So Rob and I have been friends for about 15 years.
Yep.
Been living together for about 30, but so
full circle.
It is full circle. But having said that, this is a big deal. Life happens really fast. You can't gloss over these moments.
That's right.
Your life feels like moving nonstop, just like in your world, like you are always on the clock. You're always moving. There's a lot happening. So it is nice to take a second for us to just like sit back and just like reflect for a second. This is your bachelor party. Like you are getting married. This is awesome. This is huge. How you feeling?
It hasn't hit me just yet.
Yeah.
I think it will hit me probably later today, once the phone calls stop and things start settling down a bit. But I think like tonight, I think it'll kind of hit me full circle. Once all the boys are together, I think that's when it's going to kind of resonate a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy though. I mean, I was telling, George, I've known you guys for like almost 17 years, which is crazy. And it's like, that's half our life.
Yeah.
Which is pretty nuts if you think about it like that. I've known you guys forever. It's like, damn. So yeah, there's a lot to catch up on though. I think we got a lot to chat about.
Yeah, 100%. Before we go backwards and talk a little bit about that, so we got the bachelor party this weekend. What major events are we looking forward to? What do we think's going to go down?
Are we going to get sponsored?
Who's getting arrested?
Am I going to give him plug a sponsor?
Who's George going to have to make phone calls on behalf of?
I wrote in the group, I said, who wants to party back like in 2014? And everyone liked that post. So, yeah. I mean, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff here. I think we can talk about that after and recap it. But, a lot of clubs in Miami, we're tearing it up, like the good old days with the boys. So,
yeah. Let's talk, let's shift a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about, D, let's catch up on you, like for business wise. Like, dude, you're moving 24/7. Going 24/7, built an awesome brand, awesome company. Where are you at these days, dude? What's going on?
Well, you saw a little bit of the day. You got a taste of the day.
I call you, and if I can get through them, I'm happy. Yeah.
You got a little taste of the day in life.
I love this, the podcast life. Well, yeah, a little bit. I did, yeah. I wore the suit. I wore one of D's suits.
He did. I had him dressed up.
I literally just dressed up just for like the real estate, just for like the looks. And they like someone was asking me questions, and I was like,
incognito real estate agent. He came in like all my appointments and just basically acted like he was a real estate agent.
I was like Step Brothers, where it's just like, who's this guy?
I was like, just don't say anything. Just look good and just stand there for a little bit.
I was just like this.
And a successful day. But no, I mean, obviously it's good.
I think I sold a place.
Yeah, I got 2 listings out of that one that we went to in Boston. The one that we
she
met
liked my suit at least.
Yeah, we got 2 listings that are coming on the market soon, actually. So no, but like things are good. Obviously, like it's good to catch up, kind of just chill and sit here for a little bit and just like kind of shoot the shit. But like, yeah, work is crazy. I mean, we love what we do. I think we can all agree to that. I think that. I realized when I first started in the industry, I was just like, getting my feet wet. I'm a real estate agent. Look at me. Then I started really building a brand then built a business, and then, exponentially grew the business. But like, you have to identify that it's like, okay, this is more than just me being a real estate agent. Like, I'm not going to be 60 years old running around showing homes. I have to build a brand that makes sense for me. So I've been putting in the work, as you mentioned, like things are busy because I'm purposely doing that because I want to keep myself busy to put in the work now to deliver the results later. But like, yeah, it took a while to like just even start off with that. So
let's take it back, to 2010. Okay, we all just graduated from St. John's Prep, preparatory boys, perfect gentlemen. So let's take it back to then. Do you guys see, did you guys envision back then where you're at now? Like, what does that look like? Because for me, like, I'm kind of, I'm happy. I'm pretty happy with the place I am in, and I'm happy to see all you guys too. I mean, like, it's so cool to see how everyone's like grown, everyone's been building, and like, really, like, none of our friends are bums. It's a good thing. Everyone's doing pretty good. So
yeah, we actually did pretty good.
We did pretty good.
We did pretty good. About the whole
Yeah.
crew from high school and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like probably you guys had a pretty good squad. I'd say like out of your core 6, you guys are probably 6 for 6. I'd say.
Yeah.
But I think we learned the fundamentals from St. John's, honestly.
No,
Like,
I honestly do.
Yeah.
I think from the prep, like, and I think most people I've met from St. John's have been super successful, and like just in whatever they wanted to do, like, and people have like followed through. There's I think it's great.
I feel like you have to feed into that though. Like, George, you could probably talk on this a little bit, but like if you're playing sports there, you have to like feed into the prep culture. Like, you have to be able to be acclimated, integrated with like that community in order to reap the benefits of it. Like, obviously we knew a lot of people there, all good people, all good guys, but like some people would just be like, all right, I'm out. Like, I'm going to school here. I'm out. No participation. They didn't want to be involved. But like, I always remember, like, not getting too deep into this, but like the headmaster at the new headmaster at Hardeman, right? He's like, I'm going to turn the boys into men. And like, honestly, like that, I credit them for so much. Like, even with my industry, like it's a full circle. I meet people from 20 years before me who graduated to, 10 years after me. And it's just a full circle there. And I feel like it's just exponentially helped all of our careers and whatnot. But like, what do you think in terms of that too?
I mean, I think like, as you mentioned with that, and it kind of relates to more facets in life rather than just high school.
Yeah.
But in order to, get that full experience, you need to buy in. You be 100% in. And that kind of relates to everything you guys are doing now with your careers, like real estate, health and wellness. Like, you have your message, your goal, and your purpose. In order for you to, reach those goals, you have to 100% buy in.
Me too, bro.
It starts at St. John's Prep, where we learn those principles.
Yeah.
And it just continues to relate to all facets of your life, I feel like.
You too, bro. You've worked your way up and like doing awesome things over in DC.
Well, I wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah, I know, bro, but
I think we all wanted to be a doctor.
I think all of our parents wanted to be doctors.
I think we all wanted to be a doctor.
But, like, obviously college sciences weren't for me.
Yeah.
So I found my purpose elsewhere. Like, that's what kind of drives me, gives me my purpose, is helping people.
Yeah.
So
But I think that's like the most important aspect is like of life is like you have to like understand that you do have a vital role in whatever you do. And like you could probably agree with this too. And Johnny, you could agree with this on a different level too. Like you're class president, like you want to help people, right? Like you're in health and wellness, you want to help people. Like you're the same first responder. You want to help people. Like if you look at it from a perspective of like you want to help people and do good and give, not get, like you go so much further in life with that. And I just think that like obviously going back to the prep and like what we learned from that, we just learned a lot of good core values super early that a lot of people don't pick up on until the like late 20s, early 30s.
Right.
So
I'd say that's a pretty common theme. I think it's unique in some ways. Like first off, I think being from the North Shore of Boston, I think what you see is you have a lot of similar shared values that are instilled across like different pockets of these different communities, right? So it's like, I think something that's really like apparent in kind of like the cultures that we grew up with is that people value like helping your neighbor, like lending a helping hand, like there is true value that is unlocked and you're learned from a young age and ingrained, like, listen, like you're here and you live in this community and you're here to help other people. I think like St. John's reinforced that even more than anything before, as well. And so like, it's interesting to see being in our different careers, everyone's in a place where, you know, your core value and, you know, the purpose of it is to help another person in some way, shape or form, whether it be with a business, whether it be in an emergency situation, whether it be to achieve goals like financially of buying a home or like, you know, getting their dream body. What's the motto we're going with these days?
Live, look
live,
better
move
naked.
well.
No, I thought it was look better naked.
Not naked anymore.
You rebranded that one.
PG
moved away from naked.
I was just trying to remember which motto Rob and I are working off of now, which brand.
Well,
it was a little aggressive.
It's move better, right?
It's
Feel better, move better.
Look good, move well, perform your best.
There it is. Yes.
Is that the hashtag?
Say it one more time so
body
they can.
by Rob.
Say it one more time so they can. Hold on, go ahead.
Look good, move well, perform your best. Body by Rob.
There you go. That wasn't a sponsor, but
Yeah.
Put the hashtag that all weekend.
for real.
One might do that.
So segue a little bit into, so we all did, I mean, I didn't do well in high school for my grades, but I did well with networking, socializing. Obviously, we did a lot of fun stuff. And fun stuff at that time wasn't juvenile shit. It was more of just like stuff that we had fun with. We networked. We built our, you know, essentially we'll talk about it, but we built our brands from that, right? Like we met so many great people along the way, and that helped us accelerate into building our brands and our businesses that we're in today.
Yeah.
Talk about like the next segue, because like obviously we have a common denominator. We all went to Quinnipiac, did that, and like continued to do that from high school, which is cool. Like talk a little bit about like obviously we partied like normal people in high school, but like we also like valued a lot of these relationships that we had.
I mean, I can speak on that real quick. I mean, living, you know, I'm all the way in California now. So years ago when I was working at Equinox as a personal trainer there, I wanted to make my own business, to have my own brand. So I launched an online fitness program. You know, I wasn't expecting like a ton out of it, but the amount of support that I got from people that we've met over the years and were able to like hop on that program and like really help me like, you know, meet other potential clients and help me expand that from like the prep and Quinnipiac and just, you know, everyone we've met over the years allowed me to leave that job. Yeah. I left that job and that's when I went on my own. And that's when, you know, I built my own business and have my own private training studio, and I still have my online business and stuff. But like that's what allowed me to get there, and that's all the way in California, you know. And I was so grateful for that because, you know, looking back, there's no way I would have been able to make that next step if it wasn't for the people that we've met over the years and like been able to network with, you know. And very grateful.
It's almost like your the people at home help put you out there into the world as well. It's like your first wave of like early adopters, the people that are willing to like try your services, give you feedback, like be able to like build it from there.
It's tough to put something out there. Like it's really hard to like put yourself out there because you're like, you know, in my head, I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know, like, you know, there's so many thoughts going in your head. You're like kind of embarrassed. You're like, I don't know, is this program good enough? And you throw it out there, and then when you get that wave of support, it gives you so much confidence. Yeah. And you're like, wow, these people, you know, people from the past, people in my community like really support me. Yeah. I'm feeling good about this. It allowed me to feel good. Yeah. And I can't. That's how I got to, you know, where I'm at today, to have my own, you know, business and, you know, function that way. And that's what I can credit that to.
Well, let's double click into that though, because I think that's an important subject. It's like, why are people willing to go out and help you and build off that? And I think a lot of it goes back to some of the core strengths that I think, especially you guys as like young entrepreneurs starting your own businesses and whatnot, there's so many things to look at and examine how you've been able to grow that and become successful in your own rights. But I think like even going back to high school, each of you together, like I think all of us we're similar in a lot of ways, but we're also different in a lot of ways as well. And I think a lot of that kind of set the foundation for where you would launch off and where you would eventually go. So like Dante, like I was thinking about this, like flying over here, and I was just like, like I think the moment started like setting in for me a little bit. I was like, damn, like Dante, who is like an older brother to me, is getting married. Like this is huge, right? And so
Crazy.
when you think like when I think back to like where, you know, how you've gotten where you are today in the industry that you're in, I just think back to like high school, right? Where it's like you were like almost always the master networker. And I don't even think the word networking does it justice sometimes. You were the person who was always plugged in with
planning
a huge group of people at any given time.
Yeah.
And like
I would have had no life in high school. I know he would.
My mom always
Friday
says that.
The Friday text would be like, "Yo, this is what we're doing on Friday. Okay, this is Saturday. This is what's going on. We got this, and then you would connect everyone and like make these like master plans. And like honestly, that's why it's perfect for you.
I know, for real. I think it was like a
early days, man. Always doing that.
You've always
Like,
been, you've always
look,
done
like
that.
I wasn't a mathematician, so I wasn't going to be an accountant, right? Like,
or a doctor,
or a doctor, right? So exactly, because I barely went to class or put in the effort,
you know.
But like, I wanted to apply myself back then in like different ways, and like again, it kind of stands on a few values from a few pillars. It's like trust and integrity. And like, I just was very trustworthy. I am trustworthy. You know, people respect me. And I always wanted to give something back, but I really never had anything to give back to people. It was just like, hey, what's up? Like we would talk and, you know, we would cultivate all these different groups of people. At the time, I didn't realize what I was doing was essentially building a business that I have today. But like, I always was so compassionate with people, and I carry that into my, you know, career today. But like, it started organically. Like that wasn't me like forcing it. Like, you know, obviously,
I think that's in your nature.
It's in my nature.
I think that's in your nature. Like, regardless of like what business or like anything you decide to do,
right?
Like, I think you would even if you were like in an industry, I don't think you'd be as happy. But if you were in industry like where you're just like, you know, in a desk job, like crunching numbers all day, you'd still be connecting with people, being the first to wish him happy birthday at 3 a.m. at Los Angeles time. And I'm like, how is this dude even up right now? I'm like, yo, how is he up right now?
I bet that
He's
goes
still the first.
So that like, again, like I think, and again, this is something that I like was just going to address anyway, but like obviously the prep helps with organizational skills. I worked at my family business, which was at the time continuously growing, still is. And that was like a lot of grit, like a lot of like passion behind that. Yep. So I had organizational skills. So like I had the organizational skills. This was at like 16, 18. I had like organizational skills. And then I also had, you know, from the prep or, you know, from, you know, our friend group, just being like, you know, cordial to people, organized, like just whatever. And then I also had the other side of me, which was grit, right? Like I like to work hard. I came from a family business, and these were core values that I learned very young. Got taught through the company, like doing a ton of different stuff. You worked there for a little bit, like, and then obviously that spawned like later on, I was like, I still want to like provide value to people. And like, that was my whole thing, was just like, how do I provide value to people? So like someone mentioned like doing the 9 to 5 kind of vibe. So I left, so we kind of segue into this real quick, but like we talked about high school, talk about college in a minute, but like real quick, I graduated college, went to my family business, and I realized like, okay, this is a small entrepreneurial business, family business. We're very compassionate about it. We stand behind it. But like I was in the shadows because my dad was there, and it didn't really like nothing. Everyone was looking at me like, okay, you're Al's son, right? Like I didn't have a name for myself. So I was like, you know, can I be in my family business? I can live very happily. I can have a content life. I can, you know, kind of be chilling, right? Because like it's your family business. It's you know, a legacy. And I remember I went in my uncle's office and I was like, I just cried because I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I'm like, this isn't me. Like I have something bigger. And then I went to the tech space, right? Yep. So now, like I talked about grit, and then I went back to that kind of like clean cut 9 to 5, and I'm like, shit, this isn't for me either. But like, shout out to the company I was at, because they like hooked me up. They showed me a different side of business, and then that's when I went to real estate. After I realized like I got to be my own boss, like I have to do my own thing, because you know what I mean. So like these different pillars, like these different life lessons that came throughout college and high school and all that, like resonated with me later on. But again, we built them organically without even knowing. So going back to like organization, talking to people, networking, this and that. Didn't really resonate.
I kind of went that same route too. Like I did the traditional 9 to 5 thing. It's just, it wasn't for me, you know.
But if you remember like those times, I'll just say like I think the things that you're talking about, like the grit, like the devotion to things, before you found it in your businesses, I think you guys have always found it in different facets of life. So like, back in the day, like you're talking about providing value to people, like, dude, back in the day, having someone to be like, hey, here's the plan for tonight. We're going to get all these groups of people together. Exactly. We're going to have a great night. Like the value that you're providing is putting like everyone together and like creating like a fun situation, right? Where it's like, and then you talk about like the grit kind of stuff too. And I think this goes for like everyone here, but you guys, like, let's not forget about like the physique period where you guys were like, really just like using the, like the fitness competitions as a way to like better yourself and move into a new realm and stay hyper competitive and like focus on those types of things. And to be honest, like that shit takes grit too. You know what I mean? Like that's nonstop.
You know what's crazy about that is that we were like 22 or 23.
Yeah, when we got out of college, we did we both did the physique.
But like it gets even deeper. He beat me out. So basically, but the crazy
there's not really a winning.
No, like, those like places though you placed. I didn't place.
Yeah, but there was
I'll take the L. So basically, but here's like the craziest shit, right? Like with that is that we trained together our whole lives. Like we were so close, and like during that period, we didn't even train together. That's how competitive we were against each other.
Yeah.
Didn't talk. Didn't really. We just kind of like held our cards, very close, and we actually were doing that because we were competitive. But again, like.
We definitely talked.
Yeah, we talked. But we did. But like we weren't.
We're both like, this is terrible.
No, but you.
I mean, I couldn't even put a sentence together.
Yeah, we were like functionality out of it, honestly. But like we were competitive, and like, but the thing is,
we were super competitive.
But the thing is that again, we organically did not realize at that time like where we were going in life. We were just
I didn't understand what that was doing for me either. Because I didn't know I was going to get into like that spawned my fitness, my fitness journey.
But think about like think about that, right? Like think about like all these different like roads and paths that we've taken.
Yeah.
They never like, let's not say they amounted to anything, but like they were like very like important aspects of our life.
And development, absolutely.
Yeah, development, yeah.
Like it's just crazy because everything kind of just falls into place. You know what I mean?
Dude, 100%.
Yeah.
It kind of like organically came to fruition and look where it is now. Like you try all these different paths, you find out like where your heart feels like it's where it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like I'm supposed to try this, I'm supposed to do this. And so for you, it's like the perfect combination of taking everything you said, the grit, like your natural ability to network, all that kind of stuff and put it together. And then boom, you have like the perfect recipe for finding something that I think to you is more than a business. It's a lot of it's your life's work of what you're putting out there, dude. Like, like when I come, I can't even begin to tell you like how immensely proud I felt like when driving up Route 1 and then seeing your face on the highway, man. Like that was like, to me, that was like a huge situation of just driving up being like, damn, like D's have made it. You know?
I won't tell anybody, but did you pull your phone out and take a...
You better.
Oh, yeah.
No, of course not, dude. I definitely...
Yo, hear me out though. Like, listen, like, but that's so important. Like,
I was videoing the whole time, like selfies. Like,
you better have taken that picture. I'll throw you a free T-shirt if you take a pic. See, like, you know what's funny about that, real quick though? Like, I actually tell people online, I'm like, I actually was talking to my business partner about that. I'm like, fuck, we can't even like tell people to take a picture because first of all, it's illegal. Second of all, I'm not taking liability on that shit. So I tell people like if they can get out of their cars, but then I'm like, okay, then now they're on Route 1. So like, I don't know what's going to happen with that. But like,
really gonna pull off.
I think it's the best too. Cause that's the same exit you pull off to go to your house.
Yeah.
When we were younger.
Yeah.
So it was like taking that exit because I would take the exit so many times in my life.
To
go to Dante's house. Yeah. And then I go to take it like years and years later and his face is on the billboard. Like, I was like, that's so cool.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Welcome back. Yeah,
but like, that's the thing, right? You guys got to all agree, like you have to go all in on anything you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
and we can all mutually agree everything we've done, like between you playing ball, football, you just in your life career, just being like class president and just doing everything you can for everybody at every time throughout, like literally from like, I don't even know, probably before we even met to like college and graduating and just running everything. And then you doing that with your business today too. Like you have to go all in. And I think a lot of people are like, just go like 1 foot in the water and then they're like, oh, I can't do this because again, this sounds all fuzzy and warm, but like we went through a lot of adversity too, like
100%.
Individually, collectively. And like people don't realize that. They think that everything we post is like looks great because it does, but like where we got to and we're building on from our career didn't come easy.
Well,
like
and it's still a challenge. You know what I mean? Like when you have your own thing and your own business going, like it's not straight up the entire time. You know what I mean? You're going to hit times when it's like low, when you're like, you know, for you, if it's like trying to sell homes, or for me, it's like, you know, clientele or whatever, you know, and there's going to be dips and there's going to be plenty in the future too. But like, I think that's where the grit comes into, you know,
100%.
That's where that grit comes into. And that's where, like, you know, I won't show it, but like there's times where I'm going through it and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm like, you know, I start to doubt, but then, you know, it kicks in and I'm like, nah, I'm going to keep going. Like we got this. Like, you know, I've done it before, I'll do it again. And you just stick with it and you just keep pushing. And I think that that's super important too, because it's easy to look out and be like, oh, it's, you know, taking all W's. Like it's just you know, it's an easy road, because it's not at all. It's not easy. It's still a grind.
Johnny, talk about you with like,
it's still a grind.
You're crushing it obviously in what you're doing with Amazon.
Thanks,
like,
man.
And it's Amazon is like literally life for everybody. So like, talk about a little bit about that, like your growth. I want to hear about that.
I mean, dude, I think I've had a super interesting journey. I couldn't be more thankful to have had like the opportunity to join a company like that. Like, so basically they had, you know, like a training program for people straight out of school where it's like, hey, we're going to teach you Amazon, we're going to teach you e-commerce, we're going to teach you sales and all these other things, right? And it's like, I was able to get into that program like straight out of school. And like from that point forward, from 6.5 years ago to now, like Amazon's really the only thing I've ever known. And they've given me like, it's an awesome place to be, because it's a place where you can go and you can build a career inside the nest of Amazon. Just because there's so many different like elements to it. Like Amazon does anything and everything. You know, we have businesses that pretty much operate in most industries and markets. You know, it's not just like Amazon.com and e-com. So there's just it's a variety of different skills and things that you get to leverage and learn. I'm still in a place where like, I feel like I'm like, you know, we have a saying at Amazon where it's like day one, like every day kind of feels like day one in that sense. Cause things are always moving and things are always growing. So I've had a very fortunate career. Like I'm really happy with where I'm at. There is the flip side. Like Rob and I joke about this all the time, where it's like, you know, Rob is, you know, has had the highs and the lows of like operating his own business and being his own, you know, being an entrepreneur and like launching something. And I'm sure you felt that as well. Like, meanwhile, I'm on the other side where like, I've been very fortunate, very blessed. And like, I kind of had a situation where like everything kind of kept going up and up and up. And it's at a place where it's very stable and it's very comfortable, and a very comfortable place to be. But there, you know, I've had periods during this career where, despite the fact that, you know, I'm very happy where I'm at in terms of like salary and I got good benefits and I have the ability to really like live a lifestyle that I want to live. There's a lot of safe and cushion in there too that I could very easily take for granted if I didn't see the other side of what you guys go through, and especially with Rob, what he went through during COVID. You know, to see like how your business just stopped and everything just ceased.
Can we not say low lows?
Yeah, no low lows.
Yeah, plug yourself one more time. So
Adversity.
Okay, we're gonna do this again. Look good, move well, perform your best. Let's move away from the low lows.
No, it's important to have the lows.
And actually, I'm gonna be honest with you too. COVID was my busiest time.
COVID was your busiest time, but it was also the period of time where
I'm only kidding.
But you did.
It wasn't.
But again,
there was.
No, it like
Now you're backing me into a corner over here, right? No, it was a bad time, guys. Okay.
It was, yeah.
No, but I do think based on that, you handled adversity really well during COVID.
No. My
Like,
business stopped.
you
for like 2
pivoted.
months straight.
Yeah, but you pivoted into something
I mean,
different.
shut down.
I pivoted into something brand new. No, you're right. That was a time where it was like completely scary and like yeah.
And again, I don't know how many people are ever going to go through a nationwide worldwide pandemic ever again. So again, like you're still here today.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think
we
that
pivoted and we made something like brand new from it.
how many trainers, and statistically, you probably no one would know this, but how many real estate agents, how many trainers, how many people, even people in your field, George, same thing, first responders, there were probably, a lot of people, how many people quit?
Yeah.
And
were there a lot of people that quit during that time?
Oh yeah. There were people just going off doing different things.
The stress.
Just
and
total just some people were just like, it's not worth it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to risk like going out, doing my job, and potentially getting
Dangerous, man.
dangerous virus or whatever they're calling it.
Yep.
And they just totally pivoted and changed everything that they were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that again goes back to that you're here today. And that's not just because you were like, oh, this is a job and I'm happy. It's like because you dealt with adversity in the past and you learned how to overcome things. And
Yeah.
that's why you guys are still in the business you're in and you're crushing it.
Dude, yeah. Like no good business is able to like just keep riding a high and go up and up and up. Like, dude, like Amazon almost went out of business in the early 2000s, like with the .com like bubble crash. Like it's great businesses, like, and especially like people that are in entrepreneurship. I just, from my side of the cushy side, seeing the adversity and things that you have to go through, it creates a situation where you like really like find out who you are. You find it deep within yourself to be able to like figure it out, like pull yourself up from your like, you know, bootstraps and like keep going on. And like, that's a skill. And that's part of what we talked about, of having grit and the ability to sustain headwinds and keep moving up, so that finally when those winds die down, you're on a whole new trajectory that you've never been on before. And I think like Rob, you know, that's something that I got to see you go through as well. Like when you finally were able to emerge out of that, dude, like things just immediately were, you know, you got to a place where you were able to overcome it and keep moving forward and like start thriving again. You know?
How did you get to that place?
So when I went through COVID, like Johnny said, like it was a scary time, but like my business completely shut down. You know, my training business, I still had like my online business, but even that, like people were less likely to like be like, oh, I'm going to go work out and do this, because the world was just scary at the time. So there was really nothing moving at all. Yeah. So I just, I transitioned my business at the time from the gym to start doing like private house calls. So I started buying fitness equipment before like everything went out of sale. So I bought like a ton of fitness equipment. But actually sold my car at the time, and then like bought a new SUV. I put everything inside of it, and then started going to people's houses. And I was like, all right, this is gonna be it for a little bit. And you know, it started off slower, and then my schedule got busier. Oh, sorry. It started off slower, and then my schedule got busier over time, because I would be at houses and I'd be booked, you know, from an entire day, from like this house for like 4 hours, then another house 4 hours. And then pretty soon I was like, my schedule was so booked up. I was like, I can't, you know, take anymore. And that actually like helped propel my business. So it went from the lows to like really high. And then from there too, like when I ran out of spots there, you know, that's where my online training business like really kicks in as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've been fortunate, and that's been, you know, that really propelled me to the next level of even like my training business. Now I still have my private gym. I still have my like at home clients, but getting through that time and like all the connections I made through that was huge. That was crucial. Yeah. So
huge, especially that you moved across the country to do that business. Like I say this all the time to my team members, like, you know, a couple of them are from out of state. You'll meet like Joe on my team. He's from New York. And, you know, he plays professional lacrosse, but he crushes it in real estate, crushes it. He's amazing. Cool. And actually we'll see. But anyways, Joe's going to be here tomorrow. But like I tell Joe this all the time, I'm like, you know, you're from New York, but you're in Mass, but he built the same thing in New York, like he kind of did here with us, and people entrust him. So he actually does a ton of referral business out like from New York. But like, it's so, I can kind of like resonate that to how you built your brand, because like you went across the country to do something where if you stayed in Massachusetts, you know, you can get that organic business. So not only did you build a brand, establish yourself, but you had to make new connections out there, because it's a physical job that you have to meet face to face with.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was challenging, but like, you know, got into a place and just did what we, you know, we've learned to do over the years, right? You start making connections, you start networking. Right. And it's when I first got there, it was like lonely, it was tough. And it was like, I didn't have a business. I didn't even really have I knew what I wanted to do, but like, it was really hard to do it. And, you know, I started from the bottom, and then, built myself up to a good place. And, you know, I'm fortunate for that. So, but I think it's everything that we've learned over the years, you know, learning how to network, make those connections, and, and just, continue to talk to people and stay up with people throughout the years, whether it's through like social media, it's through like, texting, calling, just checking up. And, I think that's such a huge, that skill that we've learned and like grown over the years is, it's everything,
That's the craziest thing. Like people always ask, they're like, oh, like, how do you follow, like, listen, like, people are like, how do you follow up with your clients? Like real estate is like, oh, like, you got to do it this way and that way. And like, there's a specific way. They're like, how do you do it this way? How do you I'm like, listen, like I was a nightlife promoter since I was like 15 years old.
Yeah, I think that was a big one.
Like
we were doing that for a while.
It's not in like, again, I
getting into clubs with baseball cards.
For real. But like, but that's my thing is like, I think like a lot of people make things over complex too. I'm using that as an example, but people are like, oh, how do you network? How do you do this? How do you get these businesses? How do you get that? It's like, all right, first of all, it's trust. Second of all, it's, organically just having a personality. Yeah. Don't overthink a specific process and you'll execute it. Like if you were like during the COVID, you're like, oh shit, like no one's going to train. Guess what? You're not going to get any business. But then you were like, okay, you know what? I'm going to pivot into these specific, parts of the industry. I'm going to do online training. I'm going to do, help people build out their fitness centers, whatever. Yeah. Like if you don't pivot and you don't have that mindset of like continuing to go forward and you just continuously overthink things, you're never going to get anywhere. Like you're losing the battle.
I mean, I would say like a lot of it also just comes down to the fact of like coming from a place of like genuineness and like authenticity in anything that you do is so important in order to do that.
We never used to be like people, scumbags, honestly. Like we were never like that.
Yeah, I think that being like a genuine person too and like actually like having intentions, because it's like, people reach out like very salesy or very this or very that. Yeah. And it's like, you can always sense that.
It's so important.
You can pick it out right away.
No, pick it up right away. Anytime we would see shady people, like... But like anytime we saw like shady things going on or shady people, like of course, like we were in a lot of different situations that we've almost put ourselves in. But like anytime we see that, we'd steer clear. We kind of learn from it. We pivot. Like there's just so many little life things that like I don't know. I just think it's so important to like immerse yourself in all these different like groups and people and like.
And I think that's the beauty of this weekend is we get to be around so many genuine people. Because I think I'd say that all of our, everyone we're going to be around this weekend is genuine. Yeah, like everyone's good people.
Unbelievable group of people too.
Yeah.
I mean, for how you apply it in life too, and I think that comes a lot of it from that common place of where we come from too.
Does, yeah.
Like George, I think about in your line of work as a police officer, like having the ability to like have that coming from a place of authenticity, genuineness, like treating people as people, like, and also being able to have like that level of just like street smarts of recognizing situations. Like you are in the most intense and most important line of work in order to have that, like,
100%.
How do you think about that?
Adrenaline up every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when it comes down to it, like everybody has their purpose and their reason why they do things. And I think when, things get tough, you just have to keep going back to like your reason why.
Yeah.
Because, not every day is going to be flowers and roses and great like that. But if you have a reason why and you can call upon that in like some of your darkest times, you'll shine through.
Yeah.
That's facts.
I want to help people.
Yeah.
I had I was working part-time the other day. I had a old lady pull up to me. I'm sitting there, I was watching my Netflix and I'm like, oh gosh, like, what is she gonna say now? And she pulled up super nice. It was just like, hey, like there were some people parked in my complex. I'm a little nervous. I've been robbed before. Would you mind following me to my complex and just walking me up to my door? And I'm like, how could I say no?
Yeah,
and the way I try to do things, and I'm sure it kind of relates to your guys' businesses as well. Like I thought if that was my grandmother.
Yeah.
How would I want me to treat her?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And I feel like that relates to like what I do, but it also relates to you guys.
Absolutely,
that's how you build your relationships.
Yeah.
And then when you treat people a certain way, that sticks with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when they go off and are talking to other people, they remember how you guys treated them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's truth.
And that not only puts good stuff in the atmosphere for you guys, but it also brings more people to you because they know you're a genuine person. You have that good energy.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
100%.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
When you have empathy towards people and you care about other people opposed to caring about you and you're putting other people first, you're always going to succeed in whatever you do.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you like as a person, like being genuine is just more than being like, oh, like let me do one favor for you. Like it's in your DNA, in my opinion, I feel like, or it's something you learn very early in life. And I think like today's world, a lot of people are obviously portraying themselves on social media and this and that. And they want like credibility and validation.
But they miss that they don't have that aspect of the empathy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like really
there's a
wanna
deeper
help
rooted
people.
meaning. Like,
Yeah, because really want to help people, you know? Yeah. And I think that shines through your work and shines through everything we do, like with George, exactly what George said, you know, what you do. And like the effort I put into my stuff is like, do you really want to help people? Or like, are you just doing it for show?
That's my first interview question when I ask someone. I'm like, oh, like, why do you want to get into real estate? First thing when we sit down, I'm like, so like, why do you want to get in the industry? Like if we hired someone that was completely green, and it's usually like, oh, I want to like show really nice houses and like I love art decor and I love furniture.
Yeah. And George, I'm sure people watch some movies and they're like, oh, it's gonna be this
like a badass guy on a high speed chase.
It's gonna be badass. Miami Vice
305 going down the highway.
Miami Vice. Yeah.
You go out for a few whiskeys after.
Yeah.
I'm sure when that does happen, it's not fun. You know?
Oh yeah, I couldn't even imagine.
But like I think there's a false perception in every industry of like how
mine too. They think it's a sexy lifestyle. It's like you just train models all day, you train whatever, and like it's completely different than
ride
like
on a Peloton.
you ride on a Peloton here, they hop off. Yeah.
But like that's the thing. Like you have to love what is the worst aspect of an industry, and if you don't love that, then you're in the wrong industry.
Yeah.
Like
people can tell. Like, when you're not genuine, they can tell. Like if they were to feed you BS, like you'd be like, all right.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. It shines through.
We got a full vetting process for that stuff now. But like
it shines through.
It is. I think just being genuine is like the whole thing, and like it's kind of. I think the most important part of this weekend is we're around. You mentioned
people. Yeah.
There's like great people because like we're in different lines and we're just like, you know, we try to love everybody. Not everyone loves us, but like you try to be around people like that. It's just good to have like meeting of the minds with people like that. So
love it.
Well, there's another aspect of communicating trust, authenticity, and whatnot. And I think that part of that also has to flow through, at least in your two businesses, like from an online, like social media perspective.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when I think of
which is tough to do, which is really hard to do. I mean, I've had a challenge like that over the years because there's a fine balance between showing off like yourself and then like this and the flash, and you want to like get views, but at the same time you want to like not make it like you want people to get value from it. It's a really tough thing to do.
It's a tough balance to strike.
Really
like,
tough balance to strike. Yeah.
I mean, one interesting thing that both of you guys did before it was even popular was you both turned your personal Instagrams into your like business pages and brands. Like you guys both made that full switch. Mm-hmm. I think before like other people did that, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it was like, hey, here's me and here's this business and we are one and the same, right? And it's like, I think it was an interesting thing, that choice that the both of you guys make. I don't even know if you guys coordinated on that, but like it happened right around the same time.
Yeah, I think we both got into it at the same time, and like we didn't coordinate it, but like we, you know, both just both started going with it. Yeah.
We fed off each other's energy with things.
Fed off each other. We still do. We still do.
Yeah,
he pushes me to like make more stuff. Like,
you
know, and I see his stuff coming out, and you know, we push each other. But back in the day, it was a weird switch to make. But it was like once they did it, I was like, all right, we're here now. We're just gonna roll with it. And no one else. You're right. No one was really doing it at the time.
What made you guys do it in that manner?
Mine was because I was really like, I wanted to have my own business, you know, and at the time, and I was working, you know, like I said, I was working at the gym and like working, it was more of like corporate structure, but I just really wanted to have my own, and I kind of saw a couple other people kind of make this switch and start to do this, and I was like, I'm gonna go full in on this, because I think that like I saw a couple friends and people I knew from LA who like kind of started making that switch, and they were going off on their own. I was like, I'm gonna go all in on this, and I want to get this online training thing going. I want to like have my own gym one day and like be able to switch. So I knew where I wanted to go and I jumped into it. And, other industries, obviously like Dante did the same exact thing,
Yeah. So like my reasoning was this. So obviously my goal in life is to help people. Like I want to help them with one of the largest financial decisions that they can possibly make. And obviously going to really good schools, university, like I understand that there wasn't many like educational real estate seminars. There wasn't any courses. There wasn't anything to provide value to people when they go out and make one of the first largest financial decisions of their life after they graduate college.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do, I said, okay, well, number one, I have a really good foundation and base of a following. So why would I throw that out the window when these are my bread and butter? And what I first started to do, especially when I first started back in like late 2016, was to just educate people. I didn't necessarily care where they were from. I didn't care if they were from here, or Miami, Florida, Ohio, Massachusetts. It didn't matter to me, because the gratification I got was when I got a DM from someone being like, hey, I'm in Florida. I didn't listen to my real estate agent once. I just listened to all your videos and I bought a home. And for me, that resonated because I'm like, okay, like this is where my core following is. But the biggest obstacle I had to overcome with that was that I had to accept the fact that people were going to unfollow me. We're in an instant gratification culture now where a lot of people, if they don't have the followers or they don't have the likes, they feel like they're not doing well, right? And for me, it was tough to be like, I don't know why. I guess like this is probably when I had only a couple thousand followers on each platform, but I was like, oh, this person unfollowed me, that person unfollowed me, like they don't believe in me or whatever. And that actually like fueled me a little bit.
Yeah.
And then kind of going back to why I kept that base is because those were all my core friends on there. Like if I make a page that's like a real estate page, that already puts me 10 steps back when I've already built that core base. Like we're going back from our previous conversation about high school, college.
And that network. We
already built it. We organically built a network that is in place for me, that Jesus came down and said, here is your network that you built. Congratulations. You are going to do really well in this industry if you just do the right things and provide value. So I had to learn to like overcome the fact that like some people just weren't into it, but then I had people coming in and obviously built a following from that. And it was all about education first though. And I wanted to make sure like, okay, you're out in DC, you guys weren't in LA or you were in LA at the time, like wherever people were, I just wanted to be that guy. Yeah. And then I kind of pioneered that with a lot of real estate. Like I never looked at it as like, I want a quick deal. I want a quick fix. I want to do $1 million deal and peace out. Cause that's not how the industry works. Fortunately, I learned that early. Yeah. But I said to myself, like, okay, like if I can provide value to the masses, it's going to come back to me at some day.
Yeah.
And that took like 3 years.
I completely agree. I mean, like in the beginning too, I should say like before I even decided to go like, start my own business, go the online route. Like literally I would just spend hours on social media. I would post like tips and like these like little tips, nutrition tips before I even had any programs or anything out. And I would just talk to people in my messages and they'd be like, hey Rob, I saw like this like thing like about nutrition. And I would just help people for free, and like try to give as much value and as much help as possible. And just, just to like, cause first of all, you enjoy it, you really enjoy it. And then second of all, like it's giving back to people, and it's showing people that like, hey, I'm a professional. I can help you. Like if you have this decision in the future, like I'm your guy. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's it.
Yeah. And it's showing that like, I'm a professional. I can help you. And like
long
switching your page. It's a long ball game.
But not many people understand that. They want, again, instant gratification culture.
And you have to, in the beginning too, it's like, you can't, you have to be able to give value, and people have to be like, oh, this knows what he's talking about. He can help me. And like, if I reach out to him, like he's my guy. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I'm like laughing thinking about it because I'm thinking specifically for you, Rob, there was like some super random guy who like, and you probably had a lot of people that would reach out, but I remember you posted me and then some like random follower of yours who was like really following your stuff then like started following me. And then he was like reaching out to me somehow, like thinking that I was associated like with you and your business. Yeah. And so like, it's just funny.
I'm his manager.
Yeah. I'm just.
Yep.
He's the brains of the organization. I help run the books, it's like, but dude, it's so funny because like, I was just thinking about that and I was like, wow, like it actually does show the effect that like, there are people out there that are genuinely looking in search of help, looking to find the right voice or the right authentic person to help guide them.
Yeah.
And these are real people that like really exist out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just like a bot. It's not like some social thing out there. Like this is real people.
And, and I still have, I have people like I put out like, you know, I try to put out helpful content. I put out like tips and stuff. And I have the same like, you know, the same people who I'll talk to who'll message and say, hey, great post, really like this one. And then ask me a question. And that's been the theme for like 3, 4 or 5 years. And it's people I've made connections with that I've never done a program with or anything, but I still connect with them through social media. And I love that like they follow and they engage and they ask questions. And like, I give them as much value as much as possible. One of the guys on there who I've never seen, he's like, thanks, man. I used your tips and I lost like 35 pounds.
Crazy.
And I was like, that's so cool. And he's like,
can I post you?
I didn't even get, I wish. But from his pictures, he looked good. And he was like, thanks, man. I've been using your tips. I lost like 35 pounds. I put a muscle. Like, and he would just message me and just ask about certain things and like over the years. And that's really cool to see, you know, and like I never worked with him personally, but at the same time, like just being able to follow and absorb that content and be like, that's really like helping someone. I mean, that's everything. That's cool.
I want to go back to the point that you made about people, like when you switched your account over and you saw people unfollowed you and you use that as fuel. Like, oh, they don't like believe in me. Crazy thing, when it was time for me to buy a house, I'm like, God dang, I'm going to Dante's page and I'm seeing all the info, I'm screenshotting it, and I'm like, I've known him for years now. I trust him.
Yeah.
I reached out, talked to him. Even though I was in a different state, he didn't really cover that state. Yeah. Being primarily,
I'd fly out there for you if I could.
But I reached out to him because I trust him. Like I've established a relationship with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was able to put me in contact with the right person. Yeah. He hooked me up. I was able to get my first house, but that's a huge purchase. That's a huge life milestone.
Same with me in LA. He did the same thing for me.
But like you going back to like that too, and that's like sick. You're the perfect example of like how like that's like instant. That's like self gratification for me because I know that I put in the work. Like you don't need to get paid out for that. Like you said, like the term I use is ecosystem. So you're like building out like an ecosystem of people, an environment that they might never pay for you, right?
Yeah.
But like they trust you. And that's a validation right there. That's enough for me to say there is no monetary value involved with this, but it's enough for me to say you love what you do.
Yeah.
Right.
And the people that love that support what you do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
huge.
The driving purpose of why you do what you do as well. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, like George, like your story that you just talked about with that woman, like that is like probably, I would imagine, like one of those driving things of like, oh, this is why I do what I do. Like that type of thing gives you that type of satisfaction to be there and be able to really like provide true like physical help at that moment in need. Right. And like for both of you too, that is that driving force of like what gets you up and out of bed. And like, D, you were asking me earlier in terms of like, you know, how is it on my end? Like I've had periods of time in my career where I've questioned what my why is. And like, and that's, you know, like I haven't been in a place yet in which I've like done anything and like acted on that. I'm in like a new position right now where, you know, I feel like I have that why again, but there were points that I've had where I'm like, I couldn't find it. Like, I didn't know why I was doing what I was doing anymore because like I could wake up and like, you know, give two shits about it, you know? And like, finally, like when you find that why, it's, I think one of the things that allows you to operate at your absolute best and find that like upper limit or that threshold of like what you're capable of doing and like reach that next tier as a professional and, you know, and even personally in life too. And I think those things all kind of go hand in hand. And so I think it's so important to like keep that why and making sure that you like always have it. Because if you lose that why, that's when you start to get to a place where things in life become a lot harder when you don't have that, you know? And that's like, whether it be in a relationship, whether that be in your personal life, whether it be in any capacity, you know?
And that's when you have to make a move because again, you're not fulfilling your life if you're not doing the things that you love to do, whether you're getting paid. again, goes back to that culture of people think like people make money, which equals happiness.
Yeah.
And that's the complete opposite of what I've learned and understood, is that money does not equate to happiness. Living a comfortable life does, but enjoying what you can do and give back will essentially build more character and also advance your career without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sticking to your why. That's it.
Yeah, you stick to your purposes.
That's it. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say this too. Like, I think it's really interesting having a few of us like have like lived in different places as well. Obviously, like George, you're down in the DC, Maryland area. You know what I mean? Like that's a different world down there than where we grew up, man. Like, you know, Rob and I have had West Coast experience. Like, I'm curious, like, what do you guys think about when you think about like home versus living in other places? Like, do you find that you feel like the people are different in any ways? Do you feel like there's like major things that like stick out to you, or do you kind of feel like, you know, people are more similar, you know, than we might like give credit to, you know, in different places where they live?
I mean, I think maybe the core is a little bit different, but I think when, you know, you try to gravitate towards people that have similar goals and similar values to us. So for me, like being outside of Massachusetts, which is like my first home, and moving there, initially I think I felt like a fish out of water a little bit. Till you know I started building relationships and meeting other people that were kind of like-minded and had a similar vision as me. So that's kind of allowed me to, you know, settle in my second home and feel comfortable. But
you think you're staying there for good, or what's your?
Yeah,
what's your
I mean, for now.
For now, yeah.
For now.
But you got
Heard
the
it here
home. You got
first.
the home. Well, we know a guy in Boston. If you like ever wanted to come home, you know. Okay.
Quick text goes a long way. How about you guys? You feel like it's home?
Yeah, and going back to what Johnny said, I think that like where we grew up, and you know, I heard this quote, and it was like, you couldn't have like not a quote, but I think it was on a podcast, but someone said this, and like you couldn't put it better. West Coast people are
best coast?
Nice. No, no. You know what? I love the West Coast, and it's not, I'm not speaking for everyone on it.
Very general statement, but there's 100% truth to like what you're about to say.
Do you think what I'm about to say is okay or no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think West Coast people are nice but not kind.
Yeah.
And what I mean, and then East Coast people may not be nicest to you, but are genuinely kind. And what I mean by that is so if
drive you off the road if you don't get out.
Yeah. So if you got a flat tire, right? You got a flat tire. Someone from the West Coast would. I don't even think they'd pull over, but if they pulled over, they'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry to see that," and then just drive away and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you have a better day." You know,
do you need me to call someone?
Do you need me to call someone? Then drive away. Someone from the East Coast will pull over and be like, what did you do, you idiot? Let me see. Let me look at that, and like make fun of you the entire time. If I didn't know how to change a tire, like I could see like an uncle or like someone, you know, a friend like making fun of me, but would stay there with me.
Or a complete stranger.
I would say a complete stranger.
Yeah.
Would stay there with me on the road and fix it and literally be like down fixing that for me.
Yeah.
And like, no matter like, you know, and then so I could drive away. So I think that's like the best way I could put it. And that's not for everyone on the West Coast, it's a general statement.
Totally, yeah.
For a majority of people I've met, for sure. Like, you know, they're nice, you know, it's a different type of kindness and like genuineness that we have.
And I think it goes back to like, I've thought a lot about this because I've had a lot of conversations with friends about this, because like I do find that like with a lot of friends that like are from like the East Coast, or it's not even just the East Coast. I think for people that have grown up in communities that are like have this like local culture and are like close knit type of communities, that like there is this feeling of like, you know, we talked about earlier, like you help someone out, like, you know, oh, this person is this person's brother. Like, you know that every single person in that area is like one-off connection to you. You're going to know someone they know or like whatever. And because that effect is bigger, it's almost like this idea that like, you know, people are like their family and you're going to help and like give them more support and stuff. And like, you know how families operate. Like, you know, you might not be like super like nice to someone all the time, but like you truly love and care about them. Like me and Rob might like, you know, shit on each other all the time, but like no matter what, like, you know, from a family perspective, you're always going to help someone. I think that extends into the communities, especially with where we grew up in the North Shore. I feel like our people are like that. Like living out where we live, you meet someone from the North Shore. It's like, oh my God, like you're from the North Shore. And you like kind of feel this instant bond in some ways.
Long lost friends.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, do you know this person? They're like, oh, you remember that place? Like it's that feeling. It's that connector.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I say this is because like, I think that for people who come from areas like that, and there's areas like that in the country, like I know plenty of people in Seattle who come from areas like that. I just think that when you move into a bigger city or more metropolitan area or area where there's like a lot of different walks of life, you see that type of authenticity translate over into those people, potentially more so than, you know, areas where like if somebody moves to a new city and like, you know, they're moving there because they, you know, just want to escape their hometown, like they might not have that same like level of feeling and whatnot. So that's kind of how I equate it and how I think about it.
Yeah.
So good. You guys all made really valid points on that. I mean, I'm still in Boston. Didn't get a perspective of outside, but I hear a lot from you guys. So, I mean, I've drawn my own conclusions to that. And yeah, look, I think that New England people in general are super genuine. I do. I think that we've, you know, grew up in that culture where you guys will never lose those values, those core values. So anywhere you go, you're going to bring those values with you and you're going to be successful in implementing those values and hopefully teach those values to people who don't have them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I mean, Dante, you've lived in the city too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You've been around like,
Yeah,
you've been around people that, you know, aren't from Boston and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like you've been in areas, I think, where you've surrounded yourself with a lot of people and you've had experiences to like,
for
especially grow that like network and, you know,
Yeah.
all that as well.
I mean, I work with a lot of international clients as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously international, or you're coming here from China, or you're coming here from, you know, wherever it is, it doesn't necessarily matter, but they're coming from out of state, out of country, you know, they don't have those same like tendencies that we have too. So
Sure,
like, you know, people might look at us like, damn, these guys are weird. What's going on? But like, you know, where we come from, we're a very tight knit culture. And, you know, anytime you have that and it resonates with each other and you're in Seattle, you're in LA and you say, oh, you're from here, you're from there. Like it's an instantaneous connection. So
There's just something different too about
Yeah.
I remember we went to dinner in the North End and we
Yep.
were walking around and I swear to God, you got stopped every like 5 steps. Like, dude, we were just trying to walk like
the man
3
has a
blocks.
billboard.
Yeah. It just goes to show how tight this guy's social like fabric is. I mean, in terms of like where, you know, the people that you know, and like I was so, I mean, that was the funniest and also like best thing ever just to see. Like, it felt like I was walking around like the mayor of Boston, you know. But
Yeah,
that
cool.
was awesome, dude. Like that just goes to show how much, like what the output of like everything that you've done and what you've built and just being the person you're being
yeah,
has led you to.
Yeah.
treat people how you want to be treated.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
You know,
Love it.
there's no other way around that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's great.
Well, I think we should
Yeah.
pivot to real quick
This has been
before we
great.
end.
yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
where to next. So hold on, we gotta for the bachelor board. We gotta talk a little bit
Alright.
more about this. So, what's the next 10 years look like in the Bruzzese household? What's
Some little
what are the predictions? What are we gonna talk about next time?
Some little Brazizis and some tuxes running around, and some fitted tuxes I could see.
Double-breasted, you know, like sports
Double-breast.
jackets.
Gotta be.
You have to
They
get
got some single
Bow tie.
button.
Wait to see
Bow tie,
yeah.
turtleneck.
Wait till you see
bow tie.
wait till you see
No
I-
socks, no
I
socks
whipped out-
allowed.
I whipped out some shit for this one. Wait till you
Yeah.
guys
I
see.
can't wait to see.
But no, Francesca has been my support since day one,
Love
and
Shout out to Fran.
for sure.
She's a good
And the thing is that she's very successful in her career growth too.
Yeah.
And, you know, she does like financial auditing, works with like large investment portfolios for high net worth clients. And there's never a day where I tell her to not keep going in her job, in her occupation. But until that point in time where she says, listen, I'm like, you know, willing to just be complacent in this role or maybe pivot to something else in life, maybe have a new hobby, implement something different, you know, that's when we can talk. But like I encourage her just like she encourages me, and we support each other. And until that time kind of runs out and she maybe wants to pivot because she's like super creative, like that's her thing.
Yeah.
And I've been pushing her for like years to kind of do her own thing and be like more like free spirited in terms of like an entrepreneurial spirit.
Sure.
But like she's very good at, actually I used to cheat off her in math or in finance in Quinnipiac, like when we were just friends. So like I know she's real good at that shit because I used to like that was when we were just
run out on
that's when we were just friends, like which is crazy. Back in like I was a senior I was a
for
senior.
the camera, like for the purpose of this podcast, we also gotta like walk us through the progression. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you guys. It's a
well,
great
first
story.
off, I was a senior in freshman classes, so that's like that's a serious issue right there. But like realistically, like I credit honestly, like you, if it wasn't really for you guys, like in your age group, I probably would have never hung out with her as much. But like we were always just friends. Like we were chilling. We had other relationships. Like you know, nothing was forced. Everything was organic, and like. I don't think I could really have a better soulmate or partner to kind of go along the journey because she knew me from a different side before she knew me today.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were friends for 6 years and we started, you know, dating and then obviously that, you know, came into engagement, but like in that point in time, like she went through all the different adversity with me too. Like she cried when I said I was doing real estate because she thought I'd never be around. And then she supported me on my wicked lows. She, like, you know, so there's more to life than just like, you know, physical appearance or just like popularity or like how like it's about how someone treats you and how someone respects you and like, you know,
you need that rock.
You need someone to support you and
you need that.
But I don't know what the future holds, man. I mean, I think we just live our lives day to day. We're going to support each other's careers and then whatever we do in, you know, the next few years is obviously going to be positive for our life.
Open book, man.
That's right,
but
though.
Keep
That's
it,
right.
keep it an open book. You know, I think that's the way I've always lived my life.
Yeah,
Kind of like every page that's turned is a blank page, and then we're gonna write that new chapter when we're ready for it. But like, I'm not forcing anything. We're not doing anything we don't want to. Like,
everything's gonna come with time when it makes sense.
Everything
like
comes with time. Life comes with time. Like we're not, you know. Again, I want her to support her in her career until she's like,
dude.
and maybe she'll never. But like, that's the thing is like we want to just mutually support each other until that time. But you know, Francesca, we're in Miami, so we gotta cap this one and go see the boys.
All right, Fran.
I can't wait for the wedding though. I can't wait, man. I'm excited.
Yep. Until next time.
Mm-hmm.
Till next time.
All right. Until next time.
Yeah, no, boys. Let's get ready.
All right.
Go.
There we go.